Welcome, Lora String Quartet. I am Ray Show's founder and administrative director of the St. Paul String Quartet competition. Delighted to have you all here. For the first part, can you guys go across the room and identify yourselves? Since we have just one name tag right now, maybe go across the room and go from there.
All right, so my name is Elmer Carter. I'm the cellist of the Lora Quartet. I'm a first-year master's cello performance major here at SFCM.
Where are you from?
I'm from Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, born and raised.
My name is Hannah Wendorf. I'm the violist of the quartet. I'm originally from Madison, Wisconsin, and I'm a junior at SFCM.
Hello, my name is Manny Bousset. I'm a violinist of the Lora Quartet. I'm a junior. I'm my bachelor's, and I come from Westport, Connecticut.
I'm Alyssa Tong. I am the other violinist, and I grew up in Chicago, but my parents moved to Dallas, Texas 5 years ago, so I guess technically I'm from Texas.
Question number one. Since you're from all over the place, how did you guys get together?
Very random. The head of the chamber department here, Dimitri, he put us all together at the beginning of the fall semester last year. So in August 2022, we were just assigned. I had no idea who Manny was or Hannah. I knew Alyssa because we were in another ensemble together, but it was completely random.
How did you choose your name for your quartet?
So Lora is a Spanish translation of the word parrot. Obviously, we Americanized the pronunciation of it. But there's actually a flock of parrots that are native to the city of San Francisco that originally arrived here as like imported exotic pets, but then they escaped, and so now they have this funny little like native community. And so I was inspired by that when I was trying to brainstorm names for the group, because we all came from different places and we came together here in the city. And also because we are kind of chatty and we like to laugh, and I thought that also reminded me of the parrots. So that's where the name came from.
That's very cool. That's really cool. Why chamber music and why string quartets?
I think for me, chamber music has been a big part of my life since I was in high school, and honestly the most meaningful kind of music that I've played. Orchestra has its place, but since I've been in high school, I've been involved in string quartets. Not as much piano trios, but string quartets have trained my ears to listen and for me to better communicate and work through problem solving and conflict resolution and all of those things that you just don't get in orchestra. And I have found that, especially for intonation, it's opened up my ears a lot.
I definitely agree with Alyssa. It's mostly about making connections with other people on stage, because whenever you're doing solo music, it's you are the center of attention. You are required almost to present yourself as this thing, as this person, as this entity that is translating music and putting feeling and emotion into it. But when you're in a quartet, it's more like you're working with a group of people to create something, and I find that that's a lot more appealing to me personally. Because there are moments where you are the star of the quartet and then you just kind of back away, because there are moments where someone else is the star. And I like the intricacies of knowing when you're important and when you're not important, and when you need to support someone who's important. I think that that's also a big skill to learn, being able to support someone who's important.
For me, I think chamber music sort of sealed the deal in terms of wanting to pursue music as a career. I think orchestra is sort of what got me into it initially when I was younger, because it was this big, exhilarating thing. But the more that I got to go even deeper into chamber music, the more that really was the thing that made me the most excited about playing. I think especially as a violist, I feel like string quartet provides a very unique opportunity to play some of the most interesting viola parts, and like actually have more notes to play and a more important role in the ensemble. And I also just found that in the latter years of high school and in my college career so far, that often some of my closest friends have been my chamber music partners. And so I think that's just something that's really wonderful about quartet, is that it brings you close to people and maybe people that you wouldn't have ordinarily gone out of your way to talk to, but it creates really strong bonds between people, and that's been really meaningful for me.
For me, it's like a bit of both from what everyone was saying. Like Alyssa, you know, it's like opening up your ears. I find in a quartet setting, you really find your sound. You really find how to be a versatile musician, seeing as like string quartet, in my mind, is a combination of soloistic and symphonic aspect all in one, where you have to listen, you have to be a soloist, and it's like all this stuff together. So that's one aspect. And for me, actually, it's just fun.
Yeah.
It's really fun to play with amazing musicians and to make beautiful music and just, you know, have a good time.
All right. Does someone, you don't have to all answer this, but someone describe your quartet's performance style?
Ooh, style.
That's a good question.
I think our performance style is fun. I think we like to laugh a lot and make faces at each other when we're performing, because I think we have learned to trust the work that we do, and then in the performance really just make the focus be about connecting with each other, because I think we all sort of agree that that's the most important part of what we want to convey to the audience, more so than playing every single thing in tune or hitting all the right notes. Obviously we want to do those things, but the most important part is our connection with each other and how that translates to the audience. And I think it's also so much more engaging from an audience perspective when you see the performers actually enjoying what they're doing, which sometimes seems like kind of a radical concept, but it kind of is. Yeah. So I think that's sort of the thing that we try to think about the most.
Excellent. How did you guys settle on your repertoire?
Oh man, it's actually been a struggle because after we played the Dvorak and Haydn, we were trying to pick a third piece and it wasn't clicking for us. The first two, it was actually my suggestion, I think. We had maybe 3 suggestions among us and we just sat down to read it, and Dvorak is hard. It's not like particularly sight readable, but we sat down and we were like, that's it. Like we just knew, I think, that was a piece that connected with us. And the same with the Haydn. We didn't sit down and read them, but we were listening through because we knew we wanted to play a Haydn. So we were listening through, and that was like a consensus among everybody. And then this semester we like read through probably like 15 quartets or something. Yeah. And nothing was clicking the same way. So
did you settle on anything eventually or no?
We eventually settled on Beethoven, Opus 59, number 2. And we were going to continue with it, but we ultimately decided that it's just best to not do it because we have so many things coming up, and we never vibed with it, you know.
It wasn't the same like spark of energy for
it
us.
was more stressful. We were fighting more.
I think the sort of honestly what's helped us select most of our rep is just kind of out of necessity. I mean, the first semester we didn't really know that we were going to get more serious, so we were just picking something that we liked. And then the Haydn we picked because we got asked to do a winter term project with the Telegraph Quartet, who's the quartet in residence here. And it was this, I think, 4-day long like chamber music retreat. So we went to this huge house with like 15 of our peers and Telegraph, just a little bit north of the city in the woods, and we just like played chamber music all day, got coachings, rehearsed, went hiking. It was super fun. So we picked the Haydn to work on during that, and then kept it up this past semester. And then we've also been doing some contemporary pieces for a collaboration with the Kronos Quartet that we're doing in a few weeks. So I feel like most of our rep has sort of just stemmed from opportunities that we've had. So that's sort of how most of it has really come about. You
know, you chose not an easy Haydn quartet, by the way.
You're telling me.
You know, I have one question to ask you about the A-flat quartet. Was it the scherzo movement that what made it clinch the deal on it?
That's my favorite movement. It's a little hard, but that's my favorite movement, I will say. No.
I think third movement is my favorite.
Same.
I'm a sucker for those like really good slow movements. Not all slow movements,
Yeah.
but certain slow movements. That one's one of them.
How did you guys get introduced to quartets individually? Because you did mention that you've had quite a bit of experience before you got to this formation.
I went to a pre-college conservatory in Chicago called Merit School of Music, and it's like a tuition-free all-day Saturday thing. And so, you know, theory, oral skills, performance class, orchestra, and then chamber music. And I think the very first quartet I played was Bourdain too. Classic.
Yeah.
And then I played Beethoven 18/4, and I did 74/3, also kind of random. It's kind of a random quartet. Yeah, and that kind of got me started. Oh, Mendelssohn Opus 13. It's a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How about the rest of you?
Also in high school for me, I was involved in, this is a little bit of conspiracy here, but I was involved in an ensemble. We were a quartet and we did various gigs together as high schoolers. So that was kind of my first experience. We did Bourdain too as well, and American. That was my American group. And then I was asked to be in a different quartet, and I really wanted to play because these were two different groups of friends. So I wanted to play with everyone, and I was just like, okay, yeah, I'll play. But my original quartet, they got upset with me because I, decided to move over to a different quartet. Exactly. So that was the beginning of my career, and I learned a lot. I just learned a lot as to how people feel, about quartets. When they get attached to people, they don't want to lose that, and they feel like there is a level of dedication, that comes with being in a quartet. So as my high schooler self, I just learned that you can't just, switch on a dime, you have to be committed to a group. So I think that was a good learning experience for me as well.
I would say so. That loyalty factor is very high in quartets, and it's not talked about a lot.
Well, I always played quartets on and off in my high school years, just within my own public school system. But in 2019, I attended Sphinx Performance Academy. I think that was the first time I really had a very serious, very committed focus on chamber music. And I just remember being in that hall and performing in front of all those people and being like, wow, this is something I really want to do, just bouncing off my peers and whatnot, and just playing good music, having a good time. Yeah, so that was my moment. It was Mendelssohn A minor.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's so good. That's so good. For me, it was also in high school. I was part of the Wisconsin Youth Symphony Orchestras in high school, and they also have a really fantastic chamber program. So I was part of that starting in 8th grade, so I guess even middle school. Which was, I feel really lucky to have had such an early introduction to chamber music. I think a lot of people don't get that, sometimes even until college. So I'm really happy that I got to do that so early, and just played with a bunch of different groups. And then in my summer after my junior year of high school, I went to the Boston University Tanglewood Institute, that summer program, and I had a string quartet there that was just fantastic. We clicked with each other so immediately. And we spent 6 weeks we learned almost 2 full quartets in 6 weeks, and just we're totally blasting through rep and having a fun time and being really close friends. And I think that was really the thing that made me so excited about quartet. And I've been really lucky to have more groups that have clicked like that